Hi, I'm Yoa,
And I'm Benno.
and we have an interview with you because we are doing a socials project and we wanted to do technological innovation in Canada.
Mhm.
And we picked IMAX. We heard you work in that industry. I have some questions.
Yeah, of course. Happy to contribute. How did you get into the screen business? Honestly, great place, right timing. The industry was using older technology for what I currently do, and it's not antiquated yet, but you could see on the horizon that what I do could be taken over by computers. No one was really doing it at the time. We were slide in and show what could be done interactively. It came down to volunteer time. Once you have some volunteer time, people acknowledge that you have some abilities and able to solve problems. And then the real opportunities start coming. And hopefully that answers the question. It's a bit of a trial and error. And then you sort of land real projects after you put yourself out there. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, so you said that you joined like starting with volunteering, but what do you
Current.
do like currently?
So we solve the productions problems with anything that you see as a display in movies. Commonly, they have displays, phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, TV monitors, projection, LED wall. So anything with a display is our problem inside the movie. So your common thing would be you're watching like a cops and robbers kind of show, and then it's assumed that you can always find information through the internet or a database or something. So the cop looks up, oh, this guy's fingerprints match the prints that we got. And then you show that on the screen. The other more commonplace version of that is like you see people even making a phone call. You kind of think, why don't you use real phones to do that? The problem is you can't rely on the cell networks to call exactly when you need it. There's always a delay. If the actor's delivering lines, you need to have it instantly show exactly what the story is trying to tell and who's calling. That's what we do in the film industry. So we tell stories through screen graphics and mitigate all those problems for the production. So everything happens smoothly. It's like a specialized IT slash graphics group.
Did you know that IMAX was a Canadian invention?
I actually forgot, but I did know at some point.
So what would you say is one of the biggest movies that you've worked for?
Using IMAX.
Honestly, I've not worked on a project that actually shot on IMAX. Not yet, at least. I do know of projects that were shot. I don't know if how many are shot locally, to be honest. Some of the Marvel projects that have been done in Atlanta have been on IMAX. But I don't know too many that have shot locally.
The most recent one, I think, is the new Mission Impossible, was shot at IMAX. Yeah. But what's the biggest movie you've done?
It depends on perspective. From general interest, it wasn't a movie as a series. I thought it was pretty cool. It was working with James Gunn on Peacemaker. I forgot what his code name, but yeah, when it got released, it's called Peacemaker. Scriptures. It's called Scriptures today as a code name. Working with James Gunn was interesting. The other project I thought was pretty cool, worked on recently, was code named Hourglass, but it got released as Godzilla. Monarch. Monarch. Yes. Thanks, Josh. Thanks. Yeah, that's called Monarch. Something monsters. Yeah.
So you were talking about those movies like as code names. Is that like a common thing done in the movie industry?
Sometimes, yeah. I call them code names, but they're commonly called working titles. They might not have named the actual project yet, or they want to keep it under wraps of what the actual project is and no one knows about it. It's low key to know what the story's about. So you don't actually know what the actual project is supposed to
Do you feel like people are going into movie theaters less and less thanks to like streaming services like Netflix? Are theatrical movie experiences like IMAX a thing of the past?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I like to say not the case. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of projects that are made specifically to go on streaming. They don't actually have a theatrical release. It's obviously also an easier route to get your projects distributed. However, if the project's good enough, I think they still want to do theatrical release. I personally, I still go watch it in the theater. So but that's my generation, right? So I think there's a world where I would question yourselves and your friends, your generation, whether you get an experience out of going to the theater. I do. I make a point. If I knew the project was shot on IMAX, I would specifically go watch it on IMAX. There's actually only one theater in Vancouver that actually screens in full IMAX, like on film, which is in Langley. But the other ones are digital, like the one in Scotiabank, I believe. And the other ones around. I'm a bit of a geek. I like to see stuff, if I can, on IMAX and on film, preferably. Like I think I watched Oppenheimer like that. I also watched another IMAX movie I actually went to go specifically watch. I think it's one of the Star Wars.
The big question we're working on for our project is how much would you say IMAX has impacted the movie industry?
I would say it's definitely made an impact. I mean, you can see how some of the bigger projects they want to shoot on IMAX. I mean, look at Christopher Nolan. He kind of actually, I would say he's one of the leading individuals pushing that agenda. Uh, and now, actually, it's not commonly known, but there's a new camera available. There's only so many certified cameras. This one isn't officially classified to be under the IMAX qualification yet, but it certainly is. Like all these other cameras that you shoot IMAX with, they're like really expensive to shoot with. However, Blackmagic just released I think it's called their 18K, and it's able to shoot IMAX format. Now that means now a consumer can actually have an accessible camera that can shoot IMAX format. And if they got, like you say, you have all these streaming platforms and such, you can actually produce a project that actually would be able to release on IMAX, like at a sort of a, call it consumer prosumer level. Of course, the lenses are going to cost a lot still, but just having access to a camera that's affordable is pretty huge.
Thank you for giving us your time and for helping us answer our questions.
Yeah.
Mm.
No problem.
Have a great day.
You're welcome.
Thank you.